Hello folks, so we've passed the eclipses and in November we will see Jupiter going retrograde. Now Jupiter retrograde begins on November 11th at less than 1 degree Cancer, right? Exaltation in Punarvasu, which it zipped through Gemini, reached Cancer, and now it will revert into Gemini on December the 5th. It will end its retrograde transit on March the 11th. Starts November 11th, ends March 11th at nearly 21 degrees Gemini in the nakshatra of Punarvasu. So again, it doesn't change nakshatra, but it does change sign. So let's discuss this further. Yeah. All right, now we know that there's been a lot of talk about this Jupiter Atichari movement, right? I'm sure you must have heard about it now if you follow Jyotish, if you follow the sidereal astrology. Jupiter is Atichari from 2025 till 2032 for 7.5 years. And certainly we can expect to see very big shifts in power dynamics on the mundane level. And we're already noticing this in the world, right? For example, with the BRICS getting stronger, the Western side of the world is starting to retaliate with unreasonable measures. Well, we're not going to, this is not about that, but we're not going to get into that. So, but because of this Atichari movement, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of these power shifts on the global platform. And shifts in your life. If we personalize it, Jupiter actually shows, like, why is Jupiter such an important planet? Because it's the only planet that is the Garaka for like 6 houses. It's dharma, it's children, it's what we create, it's finances, it's money, it's wealth. So Jupiter shows the financial institutions that have been so powerful, the economies that have been so powerful, they can collapse during this 7-year phase. The world order will certainly change. And it also coincides with the Saturn's movement, right? So when Saturn transits from Pisces to Cancer, specifically from Uttar Bhadrapada till Pushya, which are both Saturn nakshatras, historically we have seen that this Saturn transit, when it moves through these houses, through these nakshatras, historically we have seen that this Saturn transit coincides with changing global hierarchies. We're already getting a taste of this. I think in my years of not watching the news is the first time that I'm actually tuning in to the world news, which I have stayed away from for so many years because it's so interesting what's going on and so much dynamism and so much change. Power structures will certainly shift. And we're back to the Jupiter movement in Atichari. Right? Atichari basically means it's just a swift movement. So what we saw this year with Jupiter moving, so swiftly through Gemini into Cancer, it's going to continue for the next 7 years, this kind of Jupiter transit. It'll swiftly go into another sign, it'll come back, it'll go retrograde, it'll come back, and, so it can disturb the flow, and you can feel a little bit jittery and anxious. So do be aware of that, especially if you're in Jupiter Dasha. So next 7 Jupiter transits that are coming up and the next 5 Saturn transits will change the world in dramatic ways. It's a time of accelerated karma for the world. But how does it affect us on a personal level when Jupiter moves in such a swift speed? There will be little time to pause, reflect, think. You'll have to act quickly. Opportunities will come to you quickly, but they will be there for a short period of time. Events will unfold very swiftly. Decisions will have to be made very quickly. Right? You will question your belief system because that's what Jupiter is. You'll start to believe in the divine will because events may unfold that are so detached from the norm that don't make any sense at all. So let's get back to our discussion on the retrograde. Yeah, Jupiter energy, of course, is intensified and it's internalized during a retrograde. It can be felt as a time of deep questioning. This questioning will extend to all that Jupiter rules in your chart, right? So see where Gemini falls, see where Cancer falls. Again, I emphasize if Jupiter connects with natal planets, in your natal planets, so see what you have in Gemini and Cancer, then it's important to understand what is that planet for you, right? Because that's where you will feel the shift, a quick shift. In this retro cycle, Jupiter will revert back to a sign where it had already finished its journey. So if you saw something come to an abrupt end, you may see it return to life when it moves back into Gemini. You may have a change of heart. Maybe you're returning to your initial opinion, your initial judgment about a matter or about a situation. And here in Gemini, Jupiter will resume its mutual aspect on Rahu. So Rahu's time to act alone for 6 weeks in that October-November period will come to an end. And watch that space because a lot can manifest at that time because Rahu is acting alone when Jupiter is sitting in Cancer, right? At the beginning of the retro station, on November 11th, Jupiter makes a conjunction with Moon in Cancer. Gajkesari Yoga taking place in the sign of Cancer, the sign of home, property, family, domestic life, contentment. See where Cancer falls to understand where you can experience blessings. It's a good omen for domestic matters. Maybe you're moving to a new residence. Maybe you're visiting your birth country. Maybe you're moving back to your birth country. Maybe you're reconnecting with family members. This Jupiter at the beginning of this transit is making an exact trine with Saturn. You can achieve a long-held goal or desire at this time as well. It's a time when you can go back to a newly started project or business and revise it. Jupiter retro trine retro Mercury may bring some challenges in communication during this transit. See, I'm looking at what is happening when Jupiter starts its retrograde transit in November. What does the sky look like at that time? Basically the Murat. What can we expect? So that Jupiter retro will be trine the retro Mercury when it starts. When it starts its retrograde cycle, right? So that can bring challenges in communication. Write things down to get some clarity. Watch for also that Mars-Mercury conjunction in Scorpio at this time. It can bring arguments. It can bring irritability. See where Scorpio falls. But all will be resolved to get satisfactory results, right? The beginning of the transit, Jupiter is in Punarvasu. It is Virgotham. Punarvasu themes are thus activated at this time. So it's helpful to know what does Jupiter rule in your chart? What houses? Because over there, you might experience returning, revising something, right? Because that's what Punarvasu is. Punar means another, again and again, right? Punarvasu translates as the return of the light, starting over, returning to that which you had begun and redoing it. Which, of course, anyways, that's the essence of retrograde energy anyway, if you think about it. Having a desired destination in your mind, this is important. Pointing that arrow toward it. Moving ahead with determination. All of that is supported at this time. Because that is the essence of Punarvasu. Water signs are so energized at this time. There could be spiritual pilgrimages for some people, travel for some people, certainly some kind of movement. Laying down new foundations. Many people can undergo major shifts at this time and embark on new paths. You'll see what you need to do. You can make plans at this time, right? Because it is retro season, so you may have to go like back and forth a couple of times, but you will understand the big picture. You will understand the big picture. The details may not be clear. Jupiter forming this Gajkesari Yoga in Cancer during the beginning of the transit. So what does Cancer represent for you? You can see some beautiful developments there. Great time for setting off on a journey. Returning to a place that you've been to before, of course, retrograde. Good time generally for learning a new subject, right? Jupiter's exalted. If you wanted to begin new studies, couldn't be a better time than Jupiter's exaltation. Really. Travel, learning a new subject, going deeper in that subject that you've already begun. If you can do any sort of charitable gesture at those beginning days when Jupiter is moving retrograde in November 11th, that gesture will come back tenfold. Because Jupiter's energy is so strong when it's just changing, right? When it's about to go retrograde and when it's about to go direct at that, those few days. So it's a great time for Jupiter remedies. Donating is one of them, to the needy, to any phase of education, financially adopting a child, donating to teachers, donating to spiritual organizations, humanitarian organizations. Going back to a spiritual practice yourself that you may have neglected. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, great time. So let's talk about what happens when Jupiter turns direct on March the 11th next year. Yeah. When it goes direct, it remains in Punarvasu, as I mentioned. We are redoing something. We're certainly returning to an old chapter. This is also suggested with that Jupiter trine retro Mercury. Which is the same signature we experienced when Jupiter went direct, right? Which I just talked about. When Jupiter goes direct in the beginning of the cycle, Jupiter is trining Mercury, and at the end, when it goes direct, it's also trining a retrograde Mercury. So there can be some good news, right? At this time, when Jupiter moves direct, both Jupiter and Mercury are in air signs. So we can get some good news at this time. There is a complexity here though, right? Similar to when Jupiter turned retrograde, again, there's a Mercury and Mars conjunction, which can aggravate communications. It also suggests good news comes with a catch, a condition. At this time, we have Mars, Rahu, Mercury, Sun conjunction happening. You're making some big decisions. This is connected to where Aquarius stands for you in your chart. There is new direction. There is shuffling. There's moving. There's a time of high achievement, as long as you exercise some caution, right? Because the energies are very potent at this time. We also have a trinal connection with Jupiter and Sun. Again, the trines happening in the air signs suggests very quick decisions, quick movements, lots of talking, news coming from different sources. New commitments can manifest at this time with the air triangle so strong, right? Both Rahu and Jupiter are aspecting Libra. You can be signing new contracts. You can be making new commitments, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your professional life. Exercise some caution because Rahu is super strong. But Rahu wants Rahu wants to take you in that new direction. So let's look at all the signs now. We tend to see transits from the ascendant, usually, right? In the modern era, we tend to see transits from the ascendant. But like always see them from your moon, where your moon is positioned. My focus tends to be on the moon, which is also the classical, like traditional way of looking at transits. I think the reason we look at it from the ascendant is because there's somehow a belief that we have more free will now, right? In some ways we do, of course. So, the ascendant, which is the body, which is the intelligence, can, there's more free will there to make decisions, but never neglect the moon. That should be your primary. So let's start with Aries. Aries. Jupiter goes retro in your 4th house, right? Because it's already reached Cancer by November when this retrograde season starts. And then it's going to resume transit in your 3rd house. You're feeling positive at the beginning of this transit. You're feeling in harmony with your home, with your domestic life. Auspicious time for property purchase. Great time for planning a move. Luck factor is strong now for all of this. You could be visiting familiar places at this time, especially at the beginning of retro phase. It's a time you can be trying new things, cultural experiences, food, changing your diet, right? Moon is, the house of Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it's a time that you can be reconnecting with old family members that you haven't maybe you've disconnected with them for a long time. It's also a fantastic time to visit your birth country. Excellent time to learn new subjects. Enroll in long distance programs, right? Like if you are trying to sign up for something new and learn something new, couldn't be a better time. Good time to connect with your parents. Good time to get expert advice. Good time to reconnect with your guru. If travel comes up, you'll enjoy it. It will open you up to rich experiences. For those contemplating a move, you're going to get the green signal now, right? And you're going to see very quick developments. So that can make you feel a little bit out of sorts, right? Because things will be happening quicker than you can kind of keep up with. So have something to manage that erratic energy. Right? Like normally we count on Jupiter for stability, but that's not happening. So Jupiter turning around Into Gemini in December can mean engaging with a neighbor, maybe to solve old issues can come up, reconnecting with siblings perhaps. Watch for communications. They can be confusing. They can be muddled. Third house also represents the subconscious mind. Transit can make you feel restless. It can make you feel agitated. Petty issues can crop up with others, so be aware of this. So for Taurus, Jupiter is going retro in your third house. Good time to reflect on how to change, improve your own business. It's not a place Jupiter is particularly helpful. So going retrograde will help you think creatively. Out of the box. Come up with solutions, especially pertaining to money matters. It's 8th Lord in the third house, which can bring challenges with siblings. Old animosities can also resurface at this time. 8th Lord in the third. Regretting something that you shouldn't have said. The circumstance of that can crop up at this time, for instance. It's an opportune time, though, to let go of destructive patterns that are harming you. Third house represents the subconscious mind, right? So this transit can make you feel very restless and agitated. Petty issues can crop up with others, so be aware of this. When Jupiter retreats back into your second house, tweaking your diet can have a positive impact on you, especially because retrograde is a time when we reassess the matters connected to the house. So it can be your finances, relationship with your family can experience some change, can experience some ups and downs when Jupiter returns to your second house, to Gemini. Rethinking investments and how you make money. Good time for that, actually. Good time for having discussions with others about this area of life, right? To reform it. Overall, it's a good transit for you, Taurus. Yeah. Gemini, Jupiter returns retro in your second house. Excellent for reassessing your financial situation. How do you make money? How do you save money? Family issues can be there now. There can be ups and downs in relationships with family at this time. When Jupiter returns to your first house in Gemini, you'll be reflective about your relationships, all of them. With your parents, with your father, with your superiors, with your significant other, with your children. It's a time that you'll be reflective about relationships. Where are you putting time? And like, are you placing value on the right people? It's also a good time to think about your long-term goals, right? Where you see yourself in the next 12 years. Jupiter in the first house. Gemini Jupiter gets aspected by Rahu. Therefore, it can cause some anxiety. I mean, you don't have to have all the answers figured out, because that's going to change. But it's an opportunity to reflect and, like, make small changes. Small changes that you can integrate. Often when we try to make changes, we get overwhelmed and we try to do everything, but that's not sustainable. Any health issues that you had can come with a quick fix now. Like, solutions can be there that you weren't expecting. Jupiter's return to Gemini will help you align yourself with the divine plan. Right? So, connect with that inner voice. If you have a spiritual practice, reconnect with that. Because this can be a confusing time when you're asking yourself a lot of questions. Yeah? We saw in the beginning of the transit and at the end, your ruler Mercury is also retrograde. So there's a lot of questions that you're asking yourself. Seek advice if you're not sure. Family can be helpful now, so your siblings, you can reach out to your siblings for like some eye-opening ideas. Like maybe they're seeing the obvious that you just, you neglected, but they're pointing it out to you. So things will move very quickly. Any plans you want to execute, it's a time that you may have to take a leap of faith. So for Cancer is, for you, Jupiter is going retro in your first house. Beginning of the transit. It's 6th Lord in the first house. It's also 9th Lord in the first house. But do take care of your health, especially mental health, because of this, Jupiter's Atichari transit. Travel can come up quite suddenly, actually. It's an excellent time for travel, especially if you're returning to a familiar place. It's a time you can be looking forward to maybe changing your home environment in some way, leaving altogether or changing up like how you live, like restructuring things. A great time for that. Connection to mother, you can reconnect with your mom, your homeland, your birth country. Jupiter in the first is a fantastic transit. Even when things aren't going wrong, you tend to be optimistic and you see the big picture. But when it does go retrograde, it can bring kind of like distorted thinking also. Like you're not sort of, you're not thinking clearly. However, it's Jupiter retrograde. So if you turn to that inner space, then the answer just comes. A problem that you may have had to like deal with for a long time or think about or analyze what, you're not going to get the answer that way. If you have a spiritual practice, you'll get the answer straight away. If you go reflect, if you go within yourself, you will get the answer straight away. Jupiter's return to Gemini in the retro phase can also bring long distance travel. So travel can be featured now. 12th house, of course, is also the house of seclusion, isolation, charity, but expenses can come out of nowhere when Jupiter is transiting your 12th. Answers to the big life questions can come through dreams when Jupiter is transiting through the 12th. So, especially when it's retrograde. So pay attention there. Twelfth house, right? It's the house of letting go, isn't it? So clearing the clutter. Clearing the clutter from your life. What is the clutter? It could be outdated thoughts. It could be destructive thoughts. It could be your possessions. It could be certain people. So, good time to give up any sort of addiction if you tried but you couldn't do it before, because from the 12th it aspects the 6th. If you wanted to relocate abroad, excellent time for that. The entire Jupiter transit is actually great for leaving behind that which isn't serving you anymore. Do whatever you need to do, like forgive, forget, let go, confront and then let go. Sometimes we need to do that, right? Move on. Just move on. For Leo, for you, Jupiter starts its retrograde cycle in your 12th house. It's a time to reflect on your financial situation. Where are you spending money? Is it being spent on auspicious things? Travel is beneficial. If you're thinking about a move abroad, excellent time to plan for that in the retrograde phase. It's 5th Lord in the 12th, so it's great for elevating spiritual practice. If you're returning to a spiritual practice, great for that. I'm actually trying to do that. There's too many obstacles in the way, but I'm slowly sort of getting there. 5th Lord in the 12th is also good for connecting those from abroad. Then, of course, retrograde Jupiter will again return to your 11th house. 11th is gains of all kinds. So, this may have slowed down in life at this time during the retrograde. Old friends and connections could come back into your life. It could be long forgotten friends and connections also. Excellent period for making a list of goals that you want to achieve. Excellent period for reflecting on life path. What goals are good for you? What goals have you been waiting to achieve but they haven't happened, that you just have to kind of like now let go? And make a new goal sheet. This is fantastic for that, right? Because there's the 11th, 12th happening here. The 12th house transit and then the 11th back into the 11th. 12th is like, just get rid of outdated thoughts, destructive thoughts. Let go of things, let go of people that just, they're just like taking up space for so long. And aren't healthy, and aren't positive, and aren't productive. So you will of course get another chance to do that when Jupiter goes into Cancer in 2026. So it's a time to think big, though. What do you want out of life? The big picture, not just how to make money, but just the big picture. How does your life look like for the next 12 years at least, right? Because every Jupiter phase is 12 years. How does it look like? It's an opportune time to plan for the future and understand your long-term goals. And one more thing to mention for Leo, it's a good time for you to go back to school. Study a new subject. If you wanted to have children, it's a good time to plan this. It's going to be a reflective transit for you, Leo. Virgo, what's happening for you? Jupiter starts its journey in your 11th house of gains. So this may slow down at this time. You may be revising your career, your income goals. You'll be preoccupied now. Ideas will be good, so write them down. Old friends, old connections can return to your life. It could be a celebration. There could be an event you're attending, and that's how the old connections and friends are returning into your life. Jupiter retro returns to Gemini, which is your 10th house, which is not really the best place to host Jupiter. So that can create some, disruption in your career, in your work life. How you work, where you work, money you make, all are tough questions that you're asking yourself at this time. Career challenges can emerge at this time. Perhaps something that you were ignoring can rear its head again. If you're looking for a new career path, then now is the time to reach out to mentors and contacts to have discussions. Talking it out can help you see a clearer picture for your life path. Be careful about your relationship with bosses. Be careful about your relationship with persons in authority. Beginning and end of Jupiter retro, your Lagna Lord Mercury is also retrograde. So you may not be getting a clear picture, right, regarding certain issues. It's not a time to make big leaps or make irreversible decisions. So for Libra, what's happening for you? Jupiter will start its retrograde cycle in your 10th house, right, in Cancer. This can bring some challenges in your career life. It can bring some incidents that affect your reputation adversely, so be cautious there. Jupiter here will allow you to review your actions, especially those that are connected to long-term goals. It's an excellent time to ask yourself what you want for the next 12 years, to reflect on that big picture, right? Jupiter is a difficult planet for you, and here in the 10th, it will push you to take action. Where possible, consult advisors that can guide you well. Then Jupiter retrograde returns to your 9th house. It's a good time to review your life path, your life purpose. What is it that gives you joy? And if it's not your career, then move in that direction. Move in that new direction. Right? Travel can come up also at this time, can come up quite suddenly. You will be feeling good though. It's a good time to build your qualifications, your skills, maybe learning a new skill. Good for education, yes, when Jupiter returns to the 9th. Overall, it's an excellent transit for you, actually. If you're reviewing your life path according to your guidance you're receiving from experts, right? Because Jupiter is affecting your 9th and 10th house. That's our place in the world. Garm, right? Very important houses. You may just be restructuring your life in some big ways. It's a fantastic time for that. You can have some aha moments, right? You can see an old problem with a new light. Anxiety will be felt if you're not sure what next steps to take in your life. It's best to do nothing in that case, right? Because retrograde energy, their surrendering is important, retrograde energy. For you to arrive at the right answer. Watch for communications. Keep them to a minimum. Only discuss matters when necessary. Scorpio. So, retrograde Jupiter transit starts in the auspicious 9th house where Jupiter is exalted. At the beginning and at the end of this retro transit, Lagna Lord Mars is with Mercury. Okay, so this can bring forth disputes and disagreements. Something could be lingering from the past that just wasn't settled properly. Now is the time to manage it. How you deal with problems also will be visible to others on a grand scale at this time. Reassess matters connected to education, to your children. You may be reconnecting with your father. Travel can come up. 9th house, travel can come up suddenly. Jupiter retro then returns to 8th house. 8th house represents your fears, actually. Obsessions, yes, but definitely fears. So some of these can get resolved actually at this time because it's retrograde in the 8th. Sudden opportunities can come through investments. Or you could hear about an inheritance that you didn't even know about in your name. You may get curious about occult, spirituality, deep healing modalities. You can go deeper with this at this time. Intuition will become sharper and clearer. There will be a feeling that divine help comes your way when you need it. You may find an answer to any issues that come up with health, in fact, at this time, when Jupiter is retro in the 8th. Be open to like out of the box, alternative healing modalities, right? Because especially like with Rahu's aspect there. Sagittarius. For you, retrograde Jupiter starts its transit in your 8th house. It's great for those who do research work, right? You can experience some breakthroughs at this time. Excellent for sudden gains through others. If you are suffering from any chronic health problems, solutions can come out of nowhere. Intuition is sharp at this time. Right? Jupiter is Lagna Lord. So, listen to that inner voice and you will make progress. Jupiter is exalted. It can give immense benefits if you channel this energy properly. Jupiter retro then returns to your 7th house. This is a Lagna Lord in the 7th, so relationships now will be a priority for you. Especially if you're having problems, like maybe with your partner, with your spouse. Now could be the time when you see a way forward in that relationship. Great time to renew old connections. You may reconnect with someone whom you severed ties with in the past. You may meet someone that you deeply connect with, as like retrograde can bring, like swift connections, out of the blue connections you weren't expecting. Could be from a past life, could be from this life. With business partnerships, if there are areas you need to renegotiate, this will be a good time for that. Your earnings from business ventures may slow down. Capricorn, Jupiter retrograde starts in your 7th house. Great time to renew old connections. Especially if you were having problems with your spouse, your partner, it could be a time that you can see a way forward in the relationship, right? Review your relationships. Come to a conclusion about the ones that are important for you. Are you valuing the right relationships? And for some people, there may be a break or a separation if the relationship was already troubled. Jupiter in the 7th can do that, especially if it's retro. Especially if it's retrograde. This is 12th Lord in the 7th house, right? So it can be, it could simply be that you're like going back to deal with an old problem with your significant other. You may meet someone that you deeply connect with instantly, because retrograde can bring back old connections. You may reconnect with someone who you severed ties with in the past. For those who wish to marry, this transit can delay the marriage. With business partnerships, if there are areas you need to renegotiate, this will be a good time for that. Your earnings from business ventures may slow down. Good time to plan travel. Good time to plan relocation at this time. Jupiter retrograde returns to your 6th house. Jupiter here can bring some old problems back, right? You have to resolve. Daily routines can also feel like a burden. Excellent time to review those routines. Are they healthy? Are they productive? Jupiter in the 6th, though, will bring some good sleep. It's 12th Lord in the 6th, so it can result in relocation for a job. Or maybe you're changing a job, right? Leaving your work, looking for other suitable work is also favored when Jupiter returns to the 6th house. This transit can help you change your lifestyle in a positive way, actually. Getting a pet now is also favorable if you thought about that, right? It can bring a lot of joy, it can bring a lot of healing into your life also. Aquarius, what's happening for you? Jupiter retrograde transit for you begins in your 6th house. Here, Jupiter can bring back some old family problems into your life, so you have to deal with them. You may be reworking your finances. It's an excellent time to review the routines in your life. Are they healthy? Are they productive? Then Jupiter retrograde returns to your 5th house, right? And that's actually a great transit. It's a great transit to reflect on everything that connects to your higher purpose, to your higher calling, to your inner calling. Because Jupiter here is confident, it is creative, it can channel divine intelligence. It's an excellent transit, actually. I think Jupiter in the 5th is one of the best. It's a transit that can help you see the big picture as well. Give you an understanding at how to maneuver your plans. And with Rahu in the 1st, that's actually going to, you will be sort of, you'll be able to channel that intelligence. Good time to reconnect with friends and connections. Slow down on any speculative and gambling activities, like the stock market. It's a time that you can face some difficulty with your children, however. Yes. If you're single, it's a time where old connections will return to your life. Pisces, Lagna Lord Jupiter starts to retrograde in your 5th house. Great transit to reflect on everything that brings you joy. Are you doing things that make you happy in life? Maybe you've been planning to have a child. This is the time to go for it, right? This is the time to make those, seek help if you need in that area, whatever it is. Jupiter's confident, creative, channels divine intelligence in the 5th, especially for you, right? It's your Lagna Lord, and the 5th house, it gets exalted. That's very much the case for you. It's a transit that can help you see the big picture and give you an understanding of how to maneuver with your long-term plans, right? If you're single, this is a time where old connections will return to your life. This transit can bring lots of ideas about your general life direction. Pay attention to that inner voice these few weeks. You can choose wisely. If you're into mantra practice, this can elevate decision making. Jupiter then returns to the 4th house. This can bring a residence move or change in your home situation. Great time to reconnect to family. It's a good time to visit your birthplace. Good time to search for a profitable property investment. Good time for studying. You could see changes in your domestic life. You'll want to spend more time at home at this time. You can also see positive developments on the career front. Some breakthrough is possible at this time. So, if you like the video, please share. And of course, as usual, comment. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, folks. All the best.